Hello, my fellow patriots. My name is Jack Fisher, and welcome to my world. And in that world, there's a special place for patriotism. Pride in one's country is part of our identity, after all, and where we're from and who we're around gives us a sense of being. It shapes our ideals, our values, and for proud Americans like myself, the 4th of July is a celebration of America's greatness. Now, before I go into my America is Awesome speech, I want to make a brief disclaimer. I know it's easy to be cynical about America. These past several years, if not the past couple decades, have not been too flattering to say the least. I won't get into specifics. If you have a news feed, you know why. But I understand that sentiment. I don't agree with the cynicism, but I don't deny that America has its faults. You don't have to look too far into our history to see those faults, and we should acknowledge them, but they shouldn't define us either. Patriotism isn't about overlooking flaws, mistakes, and failures. It's about celebrating how far we've come while reminding ourselves of what we strive to be. To that end, and to help my fellow Americans get into the 4th of July spirit, I'd like to celebrate the ultimate icon of American patriotism. His friends know him as Steve Rogers. The world knows him as Captain America. He may be a fictional character, but he's one of those rare icons who transcends the pages from which he came. Whether you're a lifelong fan of superhero comics like me, or a fan of Chris Evans' amazing portrayal of Cap in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's easy to appreciate Captain America. He's more than just a superhero, an avenger, and an icon. He, more than any other character, embodies America's highest values. You don't have to know Cap's decades-long history to appreciate those values, but it helps to understand where and how he came to be. In a sense, he came along at just the right time. Historically, he debuted in 1941, courtesy of Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, two legendary names in the comic book world. At the time, the atrocities of Nazi Germany were well documented and getting worse with each passing day. That tyranny, oppression, and hatred stood in stark contrast to American values. Captain America turned those values into a character who fought to uphold them, both with his fists and a shield, and he did it while wearing the same stars and stripes we all salute. It was powerful imagery for a world consumed by war. The later success of Captain America in the MCU reaffirmed the power of that imagery. Whether he's throwing his shield, inspiring others, or leading the Avengers into battle, he does more than just beat up the bad guys. He gives meaning and weight to American values. He sends the message that freedom, liberty, and hope are worth fighting for, and worth defending, and, in some cases, worth avenging. Beyond the symbolism, Captain America embodies something deeper than just American patriotism. His own story reflects important ideals about what it means to be an American. Because before he was Captain America, he was just Stephen Grant Rogers, a scrawny, sickly kid from Brooklyn. He was not strong. He was not capable of standing up for himself, often needing others to protect him. But, as Dr. Erskine himself noted in Captain America the First Avenger, he has a good heart. He's a good man. He knows how it feels to be weak, vulnerable, and helpless. And despite that, he still wanted to fight for his country. He saw so many things going wrong in the world, and he wanted to right them, despite his limitations. That part in the first movie where he tries to enlist multiple times and gets turned away, that's taken right out of the comic book. And it's an important detail because it shows how much those American values meant to Steve. For him, getting the super soldier serum only made his commitment to those values even stronger. As soon as he was capable of fighting for them, that's what he did. In both the comics and the movies, he leads the charge in every battle. It's not just colorful rhetoric to him. He truly believes in these values, and he's willing to fight for them. And he inspires everyone around him to fight too. Throughout his history, it's been one of his greatest strengths. Even more impressive than throwing a shield or taking on Thanos. He lays it out as clearly and succinctly as possible. This is right, that is wrong. He's going to fight for what's right. Anyone who wants to join him is free to do so. Anyone who fights by his side will have his respect and his support. It's also worth highlighting that Cap doesn't discriminate in who he inspires and fights for. Your race, religion, age, ethnicity, gender, background, upbringing, and sexual preferences, none of that matters to him. What matters is that you're doing the right thing for the right reasons. Just look at his howling commandos in the first Captain America movie. They're very diverse, but they're united by the same principles. Those principles were only strengthened by the battles he fought, first in World War II and later alongside the Avengers. It's true that he's very much a product of his time. You could call him the ultimate manifestation of the greatest generation. He fought on the front lines of the biggest conflict America ever fought in. He showed the world just how great America could be when they were inspired. It also helps highlight how Captain America carries himself when that line is blurred. There are many cases in the comics, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done a masterful job capturing that spirit. He sees what S.H.I.E.L.D. is doing in The Winter Soldier, and he doesn't need to ponder it. He sees the flaws in attacking threats before they're threats. That's not in line with American values like freedom, liberty, and due process. And he fights against them. Moreover, he inspires others to fight with him too. He sees similar flaws in Captain America: Civil War. Even when trusted friends make impassioned arguments, he cannot and will not overlook the simple truth. Putting too much power in the hands of too few, entrusting fallible people who follow political winds, it's antithetical to those same values. Some may try to compromise, some may try to make excuses. Captain America does no such thing. For him, American ideals aren't subject to politics. The principles that mattered in the 1940s matter just as much in any decade. It may come off as corny at times, as Cap himself has freely admitted, but that doesn't take away from their value. And, corny or not, he gives those values weight whenever he fights for them. Yes, politics sometimes complicates that fight. Even Cap doesn't deny that. Throughout his history, he's had to fight those battles through upheavals in trends, culture, and geopolitics. From the Cold War to civil rights to Vietnam to 9/11, he's had to navigate these upheavals while clinging to the American idealism that's so easily jaded by the real world. And, by and large, he never falters. And if there's one quote, one moment that encapsulates this, it's what he told Spider-Man in Amazing Spider-Man 537. In this issue, which was a tie-in to the ongoing event Civil War, Spider-Man asks him, what's he fighting for? What is motivating him? And what he tells Spider-Man is profound. This is what he says. Doesn't matter what the press says. Doesn't matter what the politicians or mobs say. Doesn't matter if the whole country decides that something is wrong, is something right. This nation was founded on one principle above all else: the requirement that we stand up for what we believe, no matter the odds or consequences. When the mob and the press and the whole world tell you to move, your job is to plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth and tell the whole world, no, you move. Say what you want about Captain America. Say what you want about American history, politics, and principles. People may change and evolve, trends come and go, attitudes shift, falter, and shatter, but America's highest ideals don't change. And Captain America never stops fighting for those ideals. We could acknowledge how flawed we are as a people, but Captain America embodies how great we can be. That's what makes him the ultimate patriot and the ultimate American icon. In that spirit, the one inspired by Captain America and the American ideals he champions, I wish everyone a very happy 4th of July. America still has many challenges to overcome, but today, let's celebrate how great we strive to be. I'm Jack Fisher, and thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, take care, and stay safe.